my immediate reaction was to just roll up a joint. I was like, oh, this emotion's coming up. I don't like this. Let me evade. Let me get away from it and just roll up a joint and then try to smoke whatever tension it was away. But when I saw that it wasn't working anymore, luckily I found this tool that just fit my mind and my conditioning and where I was at in life. Fit really well.
Tell me about your interest in meditation.
It was sort of incidental. My friend, Sam, he did a meditation course and just surprised me with this email afterwards where, he did the silent 10-day meditation course in India. And he wrote all about love, compassion, and goodwill afterwards in this email. And I was so shocked because I had just spent 4 years with him in college doing a bunch of ridiculous, stupid things. I've never heard him talk in this way, but I was in this transformational moment as well, where I was reassessing all of my habits. I had stopped doing hard drugs. I wanted to just kind of clean up my act. So I thought, whatever he got, I want some of that too.
I love that.
And then I just kept going back because I saw the results, the primary result being that my non-reactiveness was getting stronger and stronger. It just wasn't like reacting blindly to all of the stimulus in the outside world.
Non-reactiveness. I have something I call the rule of 12.
Yeah.
Which is when I'm going to go do something important, like go to Europe. It honors the notion that shit happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't allow myself to get angry or upset until the 12th thing has gone wrong. And I actually count them.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, and I feel I've moved recently. And so the rule of 12 went to the rule of 120.
Oh, wow.
So many things went wrong. But I'm like, well, I can solve that, right? I don't have to be upset.
Yeah.
I just have to get in a problem solving mode.
Yeah.
I can roll with it. I don't roll over, right? I don't let people take advantage of me.
Right.
But I can roll with it.
Yeah. That's really nice. Yeah. I've learned similarly that you can actually live a very active, skillful life without being angry and upset all the time. And, my emotions still normal range of emotions, but over all these years of meditating, it feels like their intensity isn't as overwhelming. They don't govern the mind as much, which is pretty helpful to just be like, oh, I feel heavy or sad or tough in this moment, but I'm not going to do anything silly about it. Yeah, which is
you're going to activate
really
your
nice.
frontal lobes.
Yeah.
I love that. So it's a difference. If you think of the brain, you have a panic brain or a threat response brain. And you have a thoughtful brain. And they're always sort of dancing together. Yeah. And when you take your thoughtful brain offline, the threat brain begins to take over. And sort of like an unbridled horse.
Yeah, because in the past, my immediate reaction was to just roll up a joint. I was like, oh, this emotion's coming up. I don't like this. Let me evade. Let me get away from it. And just roll up a joint and then try to smoke whatever tension it was away. But when I saw that it wasn't working anymore, luckily I found this tool that just fit my mind and my conditioning and where I was at in life. Fit really well.
Without side effects?
No, all the side effects have been really positive. I mean, the relationship with my wife, with my parents, I think the primary thing was just looking back at how I felt like I was almost like half alive before that. Like I was like going through the moves. And then when I started meditating, everything about life became brighter and more vibrant. And, but I also felt a bit of sadness. It was like, wow, I let my relationship with my wife be so superficial for such a long time. And the same with the relationship with my parents and other good friends. And, but I took that as a point of inspiration to just like, get active about it all. And I don't know how, everything is so impermanent. So when I'm with them, I try to enjoy them as much as I can.
My friend Byron Katie has the saying, argue with reality, welcome to hell. And the fact that happened to you, and yes, that stole from you, and you grieve it, but then move on.
Yeah.
It's like grieve it and then move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But learn from it, right? It's like, no, I'm not going back. I'm going to make friends with something that makes me numb and dumb.
Right.
I'm going to show your scan in a second, but I want to go through these risk factors. I always think of my patients in these 4 big circles.
Sure.
What's going on in your brain? I don't know if you know, but psychiatrists are the only medical doctors who never look at the organ they treat. Think about that. Cardiologists look, neurologists look, orthopedic doctor looks, psychiatrists guess. And I'm not a fan of guessing. And so that's why we look at your brain.
Yeah.
But to understand you, I have to understand the organ, the physical organ that runs you.
Sure.
And then there's your mind, and you've been training it, teaching other people how to train. Love that. And then there's a social circle, which is what's going on in your life, wife, your work, your money. And it's spiritual circle, which is ultimately, why do you care? What is your sense of meaning and purpose? So how would you answer that?
I find that there is this like sense of purpose that I get when I'm helping other people that I don't really get anywhere else. And even though it becomes quite difficult sometimes to help and try to find ways to help selflessly in particular, where it's not just like, something where I'm egoizing or doing something for the sake of attention, but trying to just support people in their growth and in their inspiration so that they can even understand that something like healing is possible. It just makes life feel worthwhile for me personally.
So it plugs you in, connects you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Head trauma. 20, blacked out and fell downstairs.
Yes.
And you also have light sensitivity. Still have light sensitivity?
No, that was just, I think that in that day when the day after that happened. And that there was actually 2 different times. One where I had to go to the hospital and then they told me that I had a concussion. And the after effect where like I had a bad headache, had a lot of sensitivity to light for about like, I think just like 24 hours after. That moment was more significant than the other one where I fell down this. In both situations, it was like I was intoxicated too much, fell down the stairs, didn't know what was going on. And those are the 2 times I really hit my head.
All right. We do a study called SPECT. And SPECT looks at blood flow, and activity looks at how your brain works.
Sure.
And here's an example of a really healthy brain. And they're actually fairly rare. I actually did a study of normal, and it was easier to find people who murdered other people than my normal.
Oh my gosh.
So I stopped with, don't call it normal, call it healthy.
Yeah.
SPECT basically tells us 3 things.
Yeah.
Good activity, too little, or too much.
Okay.
And then my job is to balance it. So if it's too low, we're going to stimulate it. If it's too high, we want to calm it down.
Interesting.
This 4 scans on the left, the top left looking underneath the brain. So top is the front, the bottom is the back.
Yeah.
The bottom right one looking down from the top. Then one side, then the other side. And healthy, full, even, and symmetrical. I know where your head injury happened when you had the concussion because I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's still lasting.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of toxicity from before that we still want to fix.
Yes.
So,
right.
the image is on the right. It's the same orientation.
Mm-hmm.
Blue is average activity. Red is the top 15%.
Mm-hmm.
White is the top 8%. So white's like the super active parts of your brain, which should be here in your cerebellum. And we look at your scan. You see, this one's not bumpy. The healthy one's not bumpy. Okay. Yours is a bit bumpy.
Oh, yeah, definitely some bumps in there for sure.
And you can tell here in your left temporal lobe, it got hurt.
Yeah.
And right side too a bit. And then you can see here, this is on the left side, so left. You fell down the flight of stairs, probably cracked.
Yeah.
Left side. And I want to fix it. It's like my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. Let's fix it. Why not?
Can we fix it? If we go back to healthy, we want full, even, symmetrical activity here. This is sort of quiet. We go to yours. See this break?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's the head injury.
Oh, wow.
I'm not too worried about this stuff with you. I'm concerned about this.
Uh-huh.
Do you play racket sports?
No, I don't. I played pickleball once and it was way too much fun, but I could pick it up if it's good for me.
It's good for you.
Yeah.
It was too much fun, you said?
No, like that's just what I like very much so remember from that experience. Like I barely wanted to get off the court because it was just like, this is great.
I love that. Yeah. Tennis, table tennis, pickleball works your cerebellum.
Really?
Activates it, and it'll help activate everything else. So I have a supplement company I own and created. I'm very proud of it. One of my favorite products for you is called Brain and Body Power Max. Cool. And what it is, it's a great multiple vitamin.
Nice.
That's loaded with 55 ingredients that are clinically effective. In fact, if you read the bottle, it's like very high doses of B6, B12, folate. The same doses that decrease the conversion of mild memory problems to severe memory problems.
Okay.
Like, whoa. It's got 2,000 units of vitamin D. So even though you slow it down, it's still
2,000 is a great amount. Yeah.
Good unit.
Yeah.
It's got nutrients specifically for your brain.
Cool.
And omega-3 fatty acids. So it's 2 packets a day.
Yeah.
Multiple vitamin, fish oil, and a brain boost that works in 6 different ways.
Yeah.
And so I created it initially for my NFL work. I did the first and largest study on active and retired NFL players at a time when the NFL was lying that it had a problem. We've scanned and treated almost 400 NFL players.
Man, those bumps must have been crazy.
Oh,
right?
Very bad.
Like I only fell twice and it was pretty bad.
Very bad for your brain playing football.
Yeah.
80% of my players got better on that formula.
Wow.
So I'm pretty excited.
Great. Thank you.
About it. And I think it'll help your focus. It'll help your memory.
Yeah.
Also decrease your blood pressure.
Right.
You should at least check it before. Here's my blood pressure. And then check it afterwards. And it's got a lot of fish oil. It's got 5.6 grams.
Thank you.
So I think we do that.
I like knowing that there are places that I can, things that I can work on for my brain. But also that it doesn't, that this sort of 11 years that I've spent kind of working on myself, it looks like a lot of it's paid off too. So I'm glad that it's not as bumpy as it could be.